Now it's miraculous if I won't fall asleep during the shiur. I fortunately didn't have enough time to brew up coffee before I came, so it's instant coffee. I don't have to do the trick. Beishama says, Hariya Shtei Kesef. Riyah is the carbon ola one brings to the Beis Hamikdash when one comes to visit Hashem on Yom Tiv. So it must be worth $2, let's call it. Okay, $2. But Chagigah Mo'akes, the Chagigah must be $1. But so maybe the opposite. Hariyah, the carbon riyah is Mo'akes is $1, but Chagigah Shtei Kesef and Chagigah is $2. Riyah Olos. Riyah says Umar, that's a carbon ola. Chagigah is Shlomi. Okay, based on this, Beishamai Marbim Olos, Beishamai says you bring more olos, Umati B'Shlomi you bring less Shlomi. Basically, Mati Bolos you bring less olos, Umay Shlomi and you bring more Shlomi. We're going to explain that. Right? Tanchum by Eloi B'Shem Rabbi Yisrael and Chanina said, Beishamai Yofi Lama Korbanos says Beishamai learns that from the Korbanos of Shavuos. The Korbanos of Shavuos were primarily olos and less Chagigos. In other words, less shlomim, I should say. The Korbanos Tzibur. Rashi, the Korban 8, makes the cheshbon of how many there were. I don't remember exactly. But in any event, there were more olos than shlomim. And Beis Hill learns how you'll feel them be Korbanos to see, so that's why we give more significance to the olos riyah, which has to be $2, as opposed to Chagigah, which only has to be $1. Beis Hill you'll feel them be Korbanos to see. Beis Hill learned from the Korbanos of the Nesim. The Nesim here, the Korban brings down that the Nesim brought paltry 36 olos, but 206 shlomim. So from here we see shlomim more significant, and the higher sum money should be attributed to the shlomim. So says the Gemara, Beishill said to Beishamai, Lo mutav l'lami korban yachid. It's not bad to learn one korban yachid for another korban yachid. Which korban yachid we learning out from? Shlomim and olos brought for Yotiv, as discussed in Mishnah, are korbanos yachid, and the Nesim were korbanos yachid. It's more logical to infer for there. But l'lami korban yachid, but not to learn the olos riyah and the Yerushalmi Chagigah, which are carbon yachid, individual karbanos, me carbon tzibur from the karbanos of Shavuos, which are karbanos of the community, of the congregation. On the Beishamai said, on the contrary, mutav lilmo davar shunay l'daras, better to learn from something which applies for all generations, which is olos riyah and Yerushalmi Chagigah. Mitavar from the things shunay l'chol daros, for something which applies on all generations, which is the karbanos brought on Shavuos. Carbon Nesim, do not bring me a proof from the carbon Nesim, she'eino noy l'daros, which does not apply for all generations. Okay, so that's their machlokas. Now, Tani, we learned in a brayta, yesh b'riyah mashem b'chagigah, there's something about riyah which doesn't apply to chagigah, to the olah which doesn't apply to shloim, u'chagigah, there's something about the chagigah mashleim b'riyah which doesn't apply to the riyah, there's something about the shloim doesn't apply to the olah. Shari'iyah kula gavah. First, Re'iyah has got the advantage, the carbon olah which is brought because you came to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that goes completely up to heaven, right, like any other olah. Mashiach Chagigah as opposed to Chagigah. Furthermore, Chagigah noyes lifnei adibur lachar adibur. It's Chagigah also before the Torah was given, as we'll explain momentarily. Mashiach B'riyah as opposed to Riyah, can't have Riyah before the Torah is given because there's nowhere to go to visit Hashem, to see Hashem. So it only is after the Torah is given. Where do we see Chagigah noyes lifnei adibur? Where do we see such a thing that was a Korban Chagigah before Matan Torah? So don't take me literally. I don't mean there actually was a Korban Chagigah, but Lashon Chagigah no Hegas. The language which pertains to Chagigah, the language of Chag, is to be found before Matan Torah Lifnei Adibur, when Moshe Rabbeinu says to Paro, Shalachas Ami, send my nation V'Chiguli B'Midbar, and they will do a Chag for me in the Midbar. And the implication there, of course, is that it's Korbanos, right? So therefore, we see the Chag is mentioned even before Matan Torah. Now, there's yet a third facet of Yom Tov, other than the Korban Chagigah and Korban Shlomi, and the Yerushalmi Chagigah and Korban Riyah, and Olas Riyah. There's Simcha, there's joy. Simcha is unique and has qualities which do not apply to the other two. Simcha you can have your own simcha, something which you own yourself own. I can piggyback on your simcha. I can eat your korban. I can eat drink your wine, right? I don't have to have my own simcha. I can have simcha through your stuff, right? Even a bigger simcha. Furthermore, bein b'davar shedar kol kach, bein b'davar she'ein dar kol kach. Now, the korban eipnei Moshe have certain pshat. This I don't like the pshat. What I think it means is that simcha, you would think simcha you only yotze with Yerushalmi Chagigah. So it's takashita like that in the Bible. The only Yerushalmi Chagigah constitutes true simcha. So the Baal Yerushalmi says it's not true. You can be yotze even something which is not royal lekach, not dar kol kach. In other words, let's say you like salmon, so you can have simcha with salmon. Happens to be that's not what the Torah prescribes. But when anything goes, the Torah, as long as it makes you happy, that's fine. So that's what it means here, right? Simcha applies. Both of the thing which is normally the custom of simcha, meaning a korban, or something which is not normally the custom, such as fish, or whatever the case may be. Okay, Rabbi Yossi, why don't we say? Ve'elu, and these, the other two things, korban riyah, korban chagigah, shami chagigah, and korban riyah, ain't ogin el mishalo. You're bring on your own. Umidavish and davish shadagol chain have to be, of course, for the specific parameters of these korbanos as they are required. Rabbi Yossi asks, "Well, lama lein on omri. Why don't we say koshu chay b'riyah chay b'simcha?" And let's say anybody who's chay b'riyah is chay b'simcha. Why don't you mention this difference? There are some people who are chayiv in Re'iyah who are chayiv in Simcha. And there's some who are chayiv in Simcha and not chayiv in Re'iyah. They don't come to the base of Mikdash. Who are they? Nashim, women. Chayav in Simcha, they're liable to be happy. Ve'enim chayav Sriya, but they do not have to come to be seen in the base of Mikdash. Rabbi Lezer says, Gemara, you know what? Theoretically, you're right. The Gemara doesn't really answer the question. This being an opinion which argues. Rabbi Lezer argues. He holds. Rabbi Lezer nemakan simcha. It says. Sorry. So he holds, like we just said, that simcha is even a butcher store meat. You don't have to actually bring a korban. Makulin is a butcher store. So no matter wherever you get your meat, that's okay. It doesn't have to be actual korbanos. Rabbi Lezer argues. Rabbi Lezer nemakan simcha. It says here simcha, and it says simcha elsewhere. Ma simcha, I forget where the other place is. But she says v'sabachta shlomim v'chalta sham. I don't remember what the pasuk is talking about there. Anyway, it says simcha here, it says simcha over there. Maybe. I don't remember what it is. Just like over there, Shlomim, Avkan, so to here, when it says Samachta V'Yontif itself, without mentioning Korbanos, it also is referring to Shlomim. Rav Chuna Acha Pashut Kol Shiva. Rav Chuna said, Rav Chuna rather held, it's true you need to have simcha, but you just, if you're poor, so you don't spend more than you have, he ate just a pashut's worth. A pashut is the type of coin, all 7 days, and then he with great generosity even to himself. But the bottom line is he felt that you had to have meat b'dafka or simcha, and although it obviously was not korbanos anymore, he felt that you have to have some meat at least every day. Okay. Amrei Yochanan said, "Ma v'kesef v'shteik."
Is Achal Pasha Kol Shiva except for Yontif where you ate meat?
No, Pasha means a coin's worth. A Pasha is a type of coin, like a pruta's worth. So you had a pruta's worth of meat every day. That's what it means. Amrei Yochanan. Kol Shiva Yontif. Even Chol Hamoed. So didn't Simcha even Chol Hamoed. That's what you say. Okay.
We learned to Beitzah the other day.
About what?
Every day for Shabbos.
Yeah. So this is of Chol Hamoed. Amrei Yochanan, more kesef v'shtei kesef. The shiur which you mentioned our mission, which was decided machlokes beisham beisil, how much? $1 or $2. Dvar Torah. This is a doraisa that you have to pay this money. Says the Gemara, Tan Rabbi Yossi kum Rabbi Yochanan. The Tan Rabbi Yossi learned, Rabbi Yasa actually learned from Rabbi Yochanan. Riyah koshu. Midoraisa, there's no shiur for Riyah. No shiur. Can be a mashu. Chachomim shomru ma keser v'shnei keser. Chachomim the ones who get a share of ma keser v'shnei keser. Says Marvi Yesh Kein Zu. Is there such a concept? How could it be Chachomim gave a share? What do you mean? The right there's no share. What Chachomim give a share? Says Marvi Rabbi Yonah said Kol shurim lo Chachomim heishnasnu. Aren't all shurim? We had this several times in Yerushalmi already, at least once. Aren't all in Sukkah? Aren't all Peah? Aren't all shurim from Divrei Chachamim? In other words, this is the concept of Mosor Makosel Chachamim. The Torah gave out the Chachamim to determine what shurim or stuff were, right? So therefore, all shurim are in essence the Rabbanans. Kazais min ames, the kazais from a person who died. Kazais min avela, the kazais from a carcass. Uchadash min asheretz, and the size of a lentil from a sheretz on the olach l'moshe Sinai. So it says the Gemara, lo asameshul elakai detani. It's not going. Sorry, I forgot what this means. Oh, so this is the difficulty on Rabbi Yochanan. In other words, lo asameshul elakai. What really meant to ask Rabbi Yochanan is not that how the shir must be the right, because the shir can be given by Rabbanan. Rabbanan were given the right to ask to give shurim.
I don't know. Rabbi Yonah's question is a little strange. I mean, his answer is a little strange.
It's an answer to the question.
Yeah, but
the question is yesh kenzu. Rabbi Yonah says, of course, there's kenzu.
Yeah, but it's strange that the question relates to a shir of kesef in order for whatever we're talking about simcha. Yet he answers them strictly in tuma.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because what's it prevalent?
Could have picked so many other things of Rabban giving shir for dini dioraisa.
I take that back. The reason why he gave it is because these things don't have to do with achila, yet nonetheless the shir is a kazais.
See that again?
These things don't have to do with achila, yet nonetheless the shir is kazais. This brings it to focus the concept of Rabbanim making a shir. It's very strange. Why should it be a kazais to begin with? So must not kosel chachamim.
Nazir drinking wine. They say the shir was a revius. They're the ones who set up the shir being a revius.
No, masking, but that's you're ingesting. Here, there's nothing being ingesting. Because ice cream avela means
okay,
contact.
I understand, but they're setting a shir of something that actually you have to ingest.
I don't
the shir of Ma'al Kesef is how much do you have to consume?
No, you don't have to consume it. It might be the shir of a carbon riyah.
I thought the Ma'al Kesef has to do with to Mekayim Simcha.
No, chas v'shalom.
It's not the Simcha?
No, it's a value. One of we said $1, $2. One that buys the carbon, carbon riyah, and one buys the Yerushalmi Chagigah. It's not the shir of simcha. There's no shir of simcha. But such a brisker. There's no shir of simcha.
There's got to be a shir of simcha.
No, there's no shir of simcha. The Emet Bracha tries to fetch a shir into simcha in its chidushim, but there's no such thing. That's why briskers are choshish that they're never sameach. Speak of the rice of the chumrah.
Our discussion, I hate to spend so
it's true that they'll make bracha on the summit. They'll make shechiyanu.
Our whole discussion is right now is simcha.
Chas v'sholem, where are you getting this from?
How come I says v'yeshus chai b'simcha and chai b'rei? So we start talking about noshim, then we start.
Then we're finished.
But then we start talking.
We're starting from Rabbi Yochanan's new thing.
But the rayas to the notion of simcha, never halal simcha, never kamal simcha. I thought we're still talking about simcha.
No, I misled you then.
When did we switch from simcha?
Period. The second to last narrow line, last word in the line. I'm Rabbi Yochanan.
So then afterwards we're no longer talking about simcha?
Correct. We're talking about the specific shir of Olas Riyah and Yerushalmi Chagigah.
Okay.
Let's start from there again. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Ma keser shtei kesef. These shurim, not in simcha, but in the values of korban Baal Torah. They must be the raisa. Tana Rabbi Yossi, come Rabbi Yochanan to Rabbi Yasser. So he said from Rabbi Yochanan, Riyah koshu. It's not true. Riyah the raisa is no matter what that the korban should be worth something, a pruta. Chachamim are the ones who made it $1, $2. So he says there's such a thing. The Rabbanan make shurim. Rabbi Yonah, yes. Kol shurim lo chachamim heim shenastu kazayis minameis kazayis sevel chadash misharetz are the ones who made it up. Mishul El Kai Detani. Don't ask that question. Rather, that's another question. Like that, the time Rabbi Yosha, like the Bryces, Rabbi Yosha just said over. The time Rabbi Yosha said, Lo Yero Panay Reika. You should not see me empty-handed. Afilu Kol Shehu. No matter how small, you got to give something. Chachamim Shomru. This is still Rabbi Yosha speaking. Chachamim are the ones who say Ma Kesef Shtei Kesef. The rice are just your hand should be empty. You can give God some bubble gum. They didn't have bubble gum back then. I'm sorry, it was just a joke. But the Midaray Rabbanan, they said Ma Kesef Shtei Kesef. Okay, so here we see a clear-cut machlokas. Rabbi Yosha says it's the Maser Nakos Chachamim. Rabbi Yochanan says it's a Dvar Torah, right? So we're going to speak about that for a while. So it says, Bekashya, we are difficult like this. Midu Samach Le Dvar Torah. Since he holds it's I'm not sure exactly what the derivation of the various words in the sentence is, but the question is, the kasha where difficulty is min du samach la dvar Torah. Where's the deraisa smach? Or do you want a smachta? This takar the Rabbana Mar Kesef Shtei Kesef. Where do we find that smachta? Where do we find the allegory, the allusion to this in the Torah? So it says the Gemara again, the kasha. It's difficult. Min du samach la. Where will you find an asmach to the dvar Torah, which alludes this in the Torah? Because we have principle, they can be learn mitzvah beraisa. It's not alluded to in the Torah itself, right? So it says the Hu Amar. He said, "Chachamim shamru ma kesef shtei kesef." So the truth is, even though we have no asmachta, nevertheless, that's the Rabbanan. In other words, we're not really giving an answer to the question. Well, the Rabbanan is that Ma Kesef Shtei Kesef is a shiur Chagigah and Riyah. The Kasha, Rabbi Yossi Rabbun, Rabbi Yochanan Gedaita, Rabbi Yosha Gedaita. The truth is they follow the line of reasoning.
Couldn't that have been read as part of the whole question?
Yeah.
The Kasha min do samach la dvar Torah hu amru chachamim hem she'amru Ma Kesef Shtei Kesef. Where's a smach for this notion that in the Torah that the Rabbanan gave him the shiur Ma Kesef Shtei Kesef? Can that all be part one of the question?
I'm not sure, because let's see how you read the further continuation here. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yossi Rabbun, Rabbi Yochanan Gedaita, Rabbi Yosha Gedaita. Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yosha follow the line of reasoning. What is that? Rabbi Yosha Domar Ochel Isser B'Zman Hazeh. Skipped. The Rabbi Yochanan Domar. Rabbi Yochanan says, Kol Sher V'Lochel Moshe Misinai. He holds Kol Sher V'Lochel Moshe Misinai. So since that, Heavy Duamar, Ma Kesef Shtei Kesef, he holds told that even if it's not alluded to in the Torah itself, this I think is really the answer. Even though it's not alluded to in the Torah itself, it's still Alochel Moshe Misinai. Alochel Moshe Misinai don't have to have specific allusions to the Torah. Other things do, but not Alochel Moshe Misinai, right? Alochel Moshe Misinai can just be a Meseira. So Heavy Duamar, Ma Kesef Shtei Kesef, Torah. Rabbi Yosha Gedaita. Rabbi Yosha, on the other hand, has a fundamentally waffly approach. Rabbi Yosha is one who says, when he eats a prohibited substance in our day and age, he has to remember, or commit to memory the shiurim, what he ate. You know what, maybe today the Beis Din of the RCA will get up and say, for matzah, we want to be machmir. Of course, the RCA Beis Din wants to be machmir. So they'll come up with a chumrah. They'll say from now on, nay, the shiur is not kazayis anymore. The shiur is ostrich egg. So they're allowed to do that because the Beis Din can change the interpretation of the previous Beis Din, right? So they can come along and say, "Oh, sure, in the Torah, ostrich egg, shiur." They're entitled to do so. So that's why anytime you commit an issue, you have to write down how much you ate, what the volume was, because maybe someday. So Shemi Am Beis Din Acher, another base will come. B'Yishar of the shiurim will change the shiurim. V'Yodeh Meizer Shiur Achal, and he has to know if he ate too much, too little, what shiur he ate. Heavy Duamar, so he holds obviously Riyah Koshi. He holds Riyah is Koshi. There's no limit up or down for Riyah because obviously he holds that all shiurim are in flux. The Torah gave a shiur, all shiurim are in flux at all the time. Our Rabbanan just determined it catch can every generation, right? So it says the Gemara, and who am I? He says real kosher. Chachamim show more kesef shtei kesef. And Chachamim said that they determined to be a more kesef and 2 kesef. I mean, they said Chazar bar Rabbi Yochanan min hada. They just wanted to say that Rabbi Yochanan reneged on what he held previously from the following statements. Rabbi Yona's son Tarvayinom, Rabbi Yona's son both said lo Chazar bar. He did not renege from the following statement. Furthermore, from here, Dom Rabbi Lo b'Shem Rabbi Ami, Rabbi Yosef name Rabbi Ami, Spalgan Chizkiah of Rabbi Yochanan, Chizkiah Rabbi Yochanan Machlokas. Chizkiah said, Adam Cholei Chavasu Shtei Behemos. A person who owes a korban in the base of Mikdash, Yerushalmi Chagigah, and he promised a pledge of $8, but he can only find 2 animals, each of which is worth $4. So he splits up his pledge among the 2 animals, right? Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Rabbi Yochanan said you cannot split up your pledge to 2 animals. You have to replicate the amount of money you're going to spend. Now, what does this mean? Rabbi Yochanan, or rather, let's start with the other opinion here. Who's the other opinion?
You split it up.
Rabbi Ami. Chizkiah. Chizkiah says you split up to 2 animals. If Chizkiah holds you split up to 2 animals, right? The chiyuv. So he must hold that what's primary? The animals or the money?
Money. You can split up.
So take the money because you have to get $8 worth of animals, no matter how many it takes. $8 seems important.
Can't be. 1 second.
And Rabbi Yochanan said it seems to be the animal.
1 second. Let me read that one more time. For me, the also for me, the Rabbi Lo said, B'Shem Rabbi Ami, name Rabbi Ami, is Spalgan Chizkiah Rabbi Yochanan. Chizkiah Rabbi Yochanan argue. Chizkiah Amar Adam Cholei Chavasu L'Shtei Behemos. A person can divide his obligation among 2 animals. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Ein Adam Cholei Chavasu L'Shtei Behemos. He can't divide his obligation among 2 animals. El Tzar Shetei B'Yado. Oh, here it is. Okay, fine. He's got to have $2 for each animal. Now, since Rabbi Yochanan holds the shiur to Raisa, so Rabbi Yochanan holds each animal you want to bring us worth $2. At least the first one the Gemara is going to say. But each animal should have to be worth $2. If the ikar chiyuv is for korbanos which are worth $2, so you can't split the $2 among 2 animals, right? Because the ikar chiyuv is to have the money.
Right.
The money, I'd say part of the ikar chiyuv is to have the money, right? Each ola should be worth $2. So if you can't split among multiple animals, whereas the other Tana holds, Rabbi Lo b'Shem Chizkiah holds, that you can't split them. Because what's the ikar? There is no ikar shiur midoraisa. The shiur is the Rabbanan. So therefore, since the shiur is the Rabbanan, midoraisa is no ikar shiur, so bring as many animals as you want, as long as at the end you'll make up $2. Okay, since there's no shiur midoraisa, all the shiur the Rabbanan, they didn't apply the shiur to every specific animal, they applied only to the sum total of the money you sent. Okay? Now, Rabbi Shimon Lokashim Chizkiah said, Adam Teifel Behemos Behema. If you have one animal which you can take, which is not for Meiser Sheni money, you can add on for Yerushalmi Chagigah. You can add on a bunch of them for practice purposes, I guess. You can add. Oh no, actually, it's just for korbanos purposes here. You can add on several animals to the animal you already gave, because the chiyuv is in the animal. So therefore, as long as you gave one animal, which is okay, the other animals you can add. And here the Mepharshim say even if the other animals are Meiser Sheni animals. In other words, you bought them the other animals from Meiser Sheni. And generally speaking, the halacha by Meiser Sheni is you can only use Meiser. The halacha by korbanos is you can only buy korbanos from chulin or provide from the chulin. You can't provide korbanos from Meiser Sheni. It's money which you redeem from Meiser Sheni. You cannot then turn around and use it to buy new korbanos. Am I making myself clear?
That's because you're supposed to spend the money in
for food.
Yeah, but food, not
Food,
korbanos.
not for korbanos, right?
Because it's kodesh to begin with.
Right. But so he holds that that's what he says. Nevertheless, as long as one of your animals is okay, that's your ikar chiyuv. So then the rest of the animals you can buy from Meiser Sheni because they're not obligations very much to fill. They're just nedavos. And the nedavos you can make Meiser Sheni funding into the nedavos. You can't make it the primary korbanos. However, you cannot add on money to money. Meaning, if you have money which you want to use, and you want to add on a dovas of Meiser Sheni money, besides that, and together buy a large korban, you can't do that because Chizki holds it's a din in the behema, and therefore the behema must be distinct. And if you mix the money in order to buy it, then the money is no longer distinct, right? And Rabbi Yochanan says the exact opposite. Rabbi Yochanan, the primary chiyuv is the money, so therefore Adam Teifel Mos Lamah. A person can earn as much money he wants as long as his first ma is chulin. So then he can add on Meiser Sheni. But if you have a lot of scrawny animals which you want to use to make up the two most, that you can't do because of assuming some of them from Meiser Sheni money, right? Because there the halacha is, so according to Chizkiah, the first animal, the initial animal has to be free and clear of any obligation of Meiser Sheni. According to Rabbi Yochanan, the first ma has to be free and clear of any obligation of Meiser Sheni. Okay? Says going further, top him, and I'll skip the last two words of Dal Maze, the Korbanei takes about. Hoil fun of Esrei, interesting case, he had 10 animals. You need a lot of corned beef before Yontif. I wonder how many cows are slaves for the average chasna. It's an interesting thing. Speaking of corned beef, there's statistically interesting now. A person had 10 animals. So he brought 5 on the first day Yontif. And the other ones, can you bring on the last day Yontif, and must you bring them on Chol Moed. Rabbi Crispy Amar, he said, Ispaukun, Rabbi Yochanan Rishon Melod, it's also Machlokes Rabbi Yochanan Rishon Melod, it's a related one. Chad Amar Doichel, one says it pushes off, B'choron Amar Eino Doichel, the other says it doesn't push off. Loidi Man Amar Do, we don't know which one said which. On Rabbi Zera said, then Farish Milan the Rabban will explain the words of the rabbis. I'm sorry. The Farish Milan the Rabban and Milan the Rabbi Yochanan will separate the words of Rabban from the words of Rabbi Yochanan. No, that's not the way to read it. Point. Sorry. The Farish Milan the Rabban will explain the words of rabbis. Colon. Mimi land the Rabbi Yochanan for that which Rabbi Yochanan said to Amar Adam Teifel Mos Lamah that he can add on money of Meiser Sheni to your initial ma as long as it's chulin. So and ain't no done Teifel Behemoth Lebeim, but you cannot add on multiple animals to make up your ma because they're all scrawny. Who do Amar Doicha? He pushes. He says. You sacrifice 5 out of 10. It's a Yerushalmi hyperlink. You sacrifice 5 out of 10. The other 5 are schlepped along. Why? Because they originally were one group. So since they originally one group, so therefore you can sacrifice the other 5 not on the first day Yontif, you miss Arei, but on the last day Yontif. Where do we see that here? Because Rabbi Yochanan said, "Adam Teifel Mos Lamah, you can add on money to money, right? And on Teifel Payim Lebei, you can add on." No, I'm saying that wrong. Let's see, I'm sure I get it right. Let's try this today. 1 second. Sheesh, now I'm lost. Well, let's take it again from the 4th line down. On Rabbi Tira, the Farish Milan Rabbana will explain them. Mimil the Rabbi Yochanan Dormer said, Adam Teifel Mos Lamah, a person can add money on his initial sum, even from Meiser Sheni, but Ein Adam Teifel Behemoth Lebeim, a person cannot add on scrawny animals to make up the first ma. Who do Amar? Zoiche. He said, it pushes off, even Yontif Achron. Oh, I got it. Okay. There's the flip side. Now I remember it. Flip side is like this. Okay, got it. Flip side is like this. Rabbi Yochanan knows there's no shiur for the animals. What is the shiur on? Money. The flip side is as many animals you tack on, they're all kadosh. In other words, as many animals as your makdish are kadosh. Because I look really at the money. as the gvul. The gvul is not in animals. The gvul is in money. You want to be Meir B'Shir and bring more animals, they all become Kaddish. Rav Shimon Lakish said, excuse me, the gvul is the animals. So you cannot. The Torah said in essence, we look at a group of 10 animals. Really, one animal, it's 1 in 9. It's not 10, it's 1 in 9. Because Rabbi according to Reish Lakish. Because Reish Lakish holds the Torah never gave a share on money. The Torah gave a share on animal, one animal. So therefore, after the first animal, every animal is independent. Or Rabbi Yochanan, the Torah never gave a share for animals. The Torah gave a share for money, right? But if you have 10 animals, in theory, they could all go together, right? Since there is no shear for animals, either up or down, the shear is really on the money itself. You do have to say, I'm not even sure, according to Rabbi Yochanan, that all 10 animals have to equal one more. What it means is that since there's no shear on the animals up, or there's no shear on the minimum shear on the animals, I should say, there's no maximum shear on the animals.
Yes, according to Reish Lakish, what if the first animal isn't worth the law that...
You're not Yotze. Forget it. You're not Yotze at all. You're not Yotze. Carbon the carbon here.
You tack on animals.
It doesn't do you any good. You'll never be Yotze. Because he holds the...
So that's why there's no Kedusha.
No, one said, according to Reish Lakish,
Yeah.
one animal's always enough. You mean according to Rabbi Yochanan?
Rabbi Yochanan, you can't tack on.
You can tack on animals, right?
They all take on the Kedusha.
Right, but you're not Yotze, and you're Yotze Chiv in Minihid Ma.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but as many animals as there are in that, right?
Yeah.
So it means that animals can be joined together.
Right.
According to Reish Lakish, there's no integral connection between the animals. The first animal is the one you're Yotze with, the other ones you're not Yotze with at all. They're karbonos, but they're not karbonos which are part and parcel of the chiyuv. So now comes up very good. According to Rabbi Yochanan, who says that all the animals are combined together, so if you sacrifice 5 the first day Yontif, you got to sacrifice 5 the last day Yontif. Because once you start being Doich Yontif, you continue being Doich Yontif, right? Even the last day Yontif, 7 days hence. According to Reish Lakish, however, who holds that the parameter doesn't follow the money, but the parameter follows the animal. Each animal is distinct once you get past the first one. So never just because you did 5 the first day Yontif, it doesn't give you the right to do 5 the last day Yontif as well. There's no such sanction. Okay? Says Gemara, Rav Shimon Bar Abba, 3 nights before the Mishnah, Shimon Bar Abba said, this of course makes the point we just made, which is that if he can continue adding on and being Doich Yontif, ad Shiyom until he says, Ein B'dati Lo Osif. He keep on adding on more and more animals and being Doich more and more Yontif. Again, because just he doesn't count animals, he counts money. So therefore, the more animals you need, you add, the more the merrier. It's interesting, the poskim, the Stei Chemet learns from here, the Yerushalmi and Mavur brings it down. Stei Chemet learns from here about Tkir Shofar. As long as you didn't say, I'm stopping, keep on blowing the rest of the day. Even once you pass 100 calls, you can keep on blowing, yeah. Because that's what it says here. Until a person says stop. So he makes a conscious decision to stop, he continues sacrificing karbanos. So it's in the Tkir Shofar, which is the mitzvah Sayom with Rosh Hashanah.
So what about Baal Tosif?
Baal Tosif wouldn't apply. Only do if you did it the next day. Because this whole day is shy for the mitzvah. Okay, Olas b'moed. And all on Yontif, both mina chulin, comes from chulin, because Olos are, well, I was going to say why. Ushlomi and Meiser, Shlomi can come from Meiser Sheni as well. But Yontif Rishon Shel Chag, on the first day of Yontif, Beishamri mina chulin, Beishamri says that's come from chulin, the Somrim even mina Meiser can even come from Meiser. Right, Tarchum Bari, Loi Beishamri Yossi, Rabbi Chanina said, Kach Mashim Beishamri the Beisil. This is what Beishamri said to Beisil. Davashu Ba Chova, Bamina Meiser. I don't understand. So what you're required to bring, the Yerushalmi Chagigah, how can you possibly bring from a Meiser? It doesn't belong to you. Meiser Sheni doesn't belong to you. How can you bring it as a carbon? So says the Gemara, Armalam, he said, the Armalam Beisil said to him, Afilu b'chol, even on a weekday, Shemin echad min chulin, can't you bring one of the chulin loaves, the teifel of meiser, and join together with the meiser loaves, right? The ka maybe achs min chulin, the teifel of meiser. Here too he brings one from chulin and joins it together with the meiser. I'm not sure I explained this well. I did it backwards, that's why. Let's start from Armulan again, the fourth line down the more. On a weekday, can you bring one chulin can you bring one from chulin and add on meiser? Right. What he says, what Beisil responds to Bisham is really, no, you misunderstood us. There was a case of broken telephone, miscommunication. We never said that the primary animal you bring can be from Meiser. And we agree with you. That's a portion you can't do. We said additional animals can be brought from Meiser. That's what he says. If you, on a weekday you bring one animal from chulin, you can add on to the one which is meiser. Because maybe achas mina chulin v'toifel meiser. Here you could also bring one animal from chulin and add on one from meiser as well. So really, that's not the primary one. We agree with you. The primary one you have to own before you makdish it, but you can tack on. How can you know you can tack on meiser animals to any other carbon ashlamim? Rabbi Yossi ben Chayr said this drush is not from the Bavli. Nemar kan masas. It says here masas. Masas is a gift. And it says kilotu chal say so. You cannot bear it. Ma say so. Alone, just like there, it's where it's about you cannot bear it. It means you have too much meiser shade to take up to Yerushalayim, right? I have say so Merkan here too, where it says that you can take korbanos from masas. It's talking about avkam meiser here too. It's from meiser sheni. Alright, Lezer says, and vice versa. Nemar kan simcha, nemar lahalon simcha. It says simcha in both places by Yotam Meiser Sheni. Ma simcha mur lahalon Meiser, just like simcha over there is Meiser. I've cancelled where it says simcha Meiser. It's also talking about Meiser. V'yavi kulam in a Meiser. So how do you know that you can't bring everything? You have to bring korban riyah and shami chagigah from Meiser. Why you have to bring other korbanos? Ulebra Yishmael Amar nemar kan masas v'nemar lahalon. Yeah, bring all the. So it says more Shmuel. The Shmuel says, Nemar ka masas, it says here, masas by korbanos of Yontif, v'nemar la'am v'ter, masas Binyamin. It says Binyamin got 5 times as much as the other brothers when Yosef gave them gifts. Ma masas shenemar la'am, it's a very interesting drasha. Ma masas shenemar la'am, just like the masas where it says by Binyamin. Achas ikor, he got one portion just like the other brothers. And then he got Vashatfel, he got other ones tacked on. Of Masa Shenemar Kan, so to the Masa, which is stated here, Achas Ikar, you have to have one which is primary, Vashatfel, and the rest are tack-ons. Rabbi Yossi Rabun, but you can tack on from my shame, but you have to have one primary. Rabbi Yossi Rabun, Valo, I have a question. Aren't Shalmei Nadavish Kashalmei Chagigah, or the Korban Eir changes and says, aren't Shalmei Chagigah Kashalmei Nadavat, but the import is the same. Why? How come? What about Shalmei Nadava? Aren't Shalmei Nadava like Shalmei Chagigah? V'lama Taifel Le'elain. Lama Taifel alone. So even though Shalmei Chagigah and Shalmei in deduction only with Shalmei Chagigah and not a deduction with Shalmei Nadava, Lamedcha to teach Shedoich Nalem Esayontif. Good question. I'll tell you why. It says in order to teach us that they're doichi yontif, that only these are doichi yontif and not other korbanos of doichi yontif. Other korbanos of yontif, which you bring, other than the darim and the dovot, which you bring yontif, they have to be b'nei chol moed, or if yontif, they're not doichi yontif itself. Okay? So here it says masah specifically by Shalmei Chagigah to tell us, and not by Shalmei Nadava, to tell us that, that we sacrifice our yontif. I'm not sure what the exact limud is. Oh, yeah. Because the word the Korban Eir brings, I forgot. Korban Eir says, because it says masas here, it says masas over here, it says masas by Shavuos. And since it says masas here, it says masas by Shavuos, it says masas by Meiser. And Meiser Sheni. It says Masas by the Shami Chagigah of Shavuos. So it's coming to tell us that Korbanos brought from the Meiser Sheni as tack-ons to the Shami Chagigah or Doicha Shavuos, just like the Shami Chagigah themselves. Not just the Shalmei Nadavar. The Shalmei Nadavar taka not Doicha. Let's say the side brings Slamish Lomim on Shavuos. It's not Doicha. But the Shami Chagigah is Doicha Yontif. right? Not Shabbos, of course, but Yontif. So the tack on Karbanos from Meiser, since the Gzer Shava Masas, they're also Doicha Yontif as well, unlike Karbanos Shalmei Nedava. Okay, the next Mishnah. Yisrael Yetzi B'dei Chavasim B'darim Nedavos, Yisrael Yetzi B'dei Chiyav B'darim Nedavos, Uva Meiser Behema. Now let's talk about the Chiyav of Simcha, back to Simcha again. You can be Yetzi Chiyav of Simcha by Nedarim and Nedavos. It doesn't just have to be the Shalmei Chagigah. Those are nice korbanos to bring. But any korban in which you can eat the meat of, you can be Yetzi Simcha. The din of Simcha. Not the separate mitzvah Shalmei Chagigah, but the din of Simchas Yontif. Okay? So Yisrael Yetzi B'dei Chavasim B'darim Nedavos and Meiser Behema. They can be Yetzi with any of these korbanos. Kohanim b'chatas v'asham, Kohanim can be Yetzi with chatas and asham, v'chazav v'shok, the chatas v'asham, chazav v'shok of any korban they get, and a bechor, avalo boifus, no simcha and chicken, v'lo menachos nor mincha nachos. Rabbi Zila and Ula bar Yishmael Shem Eliezer said, Shalmei Chagigah sheshechtan me'erev ha'regel. If you slaughtered Shalmei Chagigah from before Yontif, eina Yetzi ben midei chavasim b'regel, not Yetzi chiv on Yontif. In order to have a halacha of Shalmei Chagigah, you have to be able to shech them on Yontif proper. Special halacha. Heitzarei bo asked for a tiny little Chagigah sidal Yetzi ben midei mishum simcha. The Chagigah slaughter on the Erev Pesach, which you use in order to eat Pesach al sova. You can be Yetzi simcha with that. It's not a Shalmei Chagigah, but Simcha you have. So we see Simcha at least, if it's not slaughtering Yontif. Rabbi Zera said, no, Tipater Sheshachta Regel. You only eat the Simcha also if you shech it on Yontif proper. Rabbi Bara said, Shechta Beregel, it's a Chagigah Yudal. If you shech it on Yontif, it's not called Chagigah Yudal. We're talking about Chagigah Yudal. The 14th thing.
It's also a special halacha with Korban Pesach. That you can't
Right.
It has to be the last.
Right. So obviously it's shechted before Pesach, right? Micah doing so. How did he come out? Rabbi Zera said, Adana Tamano, while I was still in Bavel. Shama Tana, I heard, he was learning over Ula by Yishmael, but Shem Rabbi Eliezer said, and Katzalikas Loch, when I came there, so I heard the same thing. Shama Tana, Rechia b'Shem Rabbi Eliezer, Vayisa Ach Samech. Now I'm going to learn this the way the Girsa is in Masechta Sukkah. In the Yerushalmi, which is the opposite of what it says here. It's a special case. You have to be happy the first night of Yontif, and that teaches us that even Chagigah Yudala works. Even Chagigah slaughter for Yontif makes you happy. Gives you simcha. Why? So it says more Yontif Achron. Who says maybe it's going on Yontif Achron? We can take a shech the day before on Chol HaMoed. Who said it's going on Yontif Rishon? Talmud Omer Ach. It says Ach. Ach means add on one night. O Chilif. So maybe add on the last night. Who says the first night? Switch around. Rabbi Chia said, "V'samachta b'chagecho." Rabbi Eliezer Taka argues. And he says, "V'samachta b'chagecho" means mishat mischai b'chagigah mischai b'simcha. You taka only chayev in Chagigah when you're chayev in sin. You're only chayev when you're chayev in Chagigah, which means taka only from Haniyot itself. In other words, he taka learns chiluf. He learns that Ach Samech is the last night. Why is that? Because you only chayev in Simcha when you're chayev in Chagigah. When you're chayev in Chagigah, only on Pesach. Hay Chagigah Yudal, it's taka not Simcha. So it's machlokas. One Madomer says Ach Sameach means even the first night. And he holds Chagigah Yudal Taka is the din of Simcha. The other Madomer holds that no, Chagigah Yudal doesn't generate Simcha. Because the only korban which is linked to Simcha, or the only korban which indicates that it's the time of Simcha is the korban Chagigah sacrifice on Yontif itself. And therefore there is no Simcha on the first night, it's only Simcha subsequently. Only Simcha on Yontif, the other nights of Yontif and Yontif Achron. Okay?
Why can't you just learn that Pesach is a unique...
That's talking what Rabbi Chia says. Rabbi Chia says, L'rabos leila Yontif Rishon, according to the version of Girsa in Sukkah. But what can you do? It's a machlokas. Like all good things in Judaism. Says Mar, Vatina, hey, Simon, they ask, how can you say it's no Simcha the first night? Vatina, they learn a halova Simcha Shmoina. Says how in Simcha are 8 days. Right? So I got Simcha. Imagine this. Shechal Yontif Rishon Lios b'Shabbos, right? If Yontif first day of Yontif comes on Shabbos, when are you going to have Simcha? The Shoyth L'Me'er V'Regel, Shech the Erev Yontif, ain't at Yochol, you can't. Remember, Zil Ula b'Shem Rabbi Shmuel b'Shem Elazar Shamei Chagigah Sheshach Me'erev Regel Shech the Erev Yontif, and it's Beit Chova son. You're not your Beregel. You're not your Tzurchiv on the Yontif. The Shachtim Beregel, and you can't shech them on the Yontif itself. So Kvar Lamani already learned She'ein Chagigah Derech Shabbos. The Chagigah doesn't push up Shabbos. So therefore, at Mosai Omu Halav Odah Simcha Shmoina, when it's Halal and Simcha for 8 days, it must be that Chagigah of Erev Yontif also generates Simcha. If it says Simcha 8 days, it must be Chagigah of Erev Yontif Simcha. No. On Rabbi Yossi said, Kaima Rav Vudma, the Chaysa, Rav Duma, the Yored, said the Kohanim was Seir. So the Kohanim have Simchim in the first day Yontif, because they eat the soyer brought of the Chatas on first day Yontif, and they eat it, if you recall, when it comes on Shabbos, they eat it raw. That's right. And that's their Simcha, steak tartar. So they have the Simcha of, they can have Simcha, only the Kohanim take, but the Kohanim can have Simcha all 8 days with raw steak on the first day when it comes on Shabbos. Okay? But in Chanami, the Maskon, the Gemara, and Sumar here is that Chagigah Dal does not generate Simcha. So we don't.
Can't you say that Shabbos itself has its own intrinsic Simcha?
Yeah, but you're talking about Simcha's Korbanos, not the Simcha of Yontif, which you talked about over here. Talking about the specific Chiyuv of Simcha's Korbanos. Okay? Avalo ifes lo menachos not office or menachos to receive zevach. So zevach, and zevach means a korban. Korban means not one which is slaughtered, not one which is malika and no birds. Somebody's got a lot of eaters and very few and not much property. Maybe shlamim merubas, he brings a lot of shlamim, vos motos and not so many olos. Ochel is that a few eaters in the chosim room, but a lot of property. Maybe olos merubas, he brings a lot of olos. Shlamim and not so many shlamim. Zev zem muatim, if you have very few eaters and very few property, very little property. Alzenamar malkas or steakas, you give the minimum. Zev zem ruin, if you have a lot of eaters and a lot of property. Alzenamar ish kamat nasi odo, each person like to give to his hand. Gevirkas Hashem elkecha shenosal, according to the bracha of Hashem that He gave you. Now, says more a different drasha. Only if you other chava. What if you have a poor guy and nevertheless he brings a lot of korbanos? Korean love, I say about this, ish kamat nasi odo, it's his giving. He gave of his own mesirus nefesh. What about Noshe v'yodo muato, a stingy rich guy? Korean, I say about him, Elot gave garnished. He didn't give anything. Kibirkas Hashem elokecha asher nosan loch. Even what you gave, it's from the bracha of Hashem. It's not your own giving. It's not attributed to you because you're a low life. You could have given a lot more. If he's an ani, he doesn't have much, and he doesn't have the inclination to give. We tell him at least don't give less than 2 kesef. Ish says an ish has to be happy in Yontif Prat L'Kotan. It's interesting, the Bavli doesn't have this drasha, because the Yerushalmi is Lishitaso. The Yerushalmi holds that a Kotan is Chayv in Riyas Panim, Doraisa. So I might have thought he's Chayv in Simcha Doraisa. So the Yerushalmi needs a drasha, special still drasha to tell you that a Kotan is not Chayv in Simcha. The Bavli learned that the Kotan is Pater from Simcha Yontif because of all the mitzvahs in the Torah, because it doesn't have the riboy for Riyas Panim. Rabbi Yirmiyah boy, Amar Re'el Chagigah 5 Slime. The guy says, I want to bring Chagigah for 5 Slime. What's the minimum? 2. But he said, I want to bring for 5. In the end, Ve'bi Shleim only brought 1 with 2. Yatza, or Kvar Nikba. Is he Yotzei, or is it already Kavua? In which he said himself. So Amar Le Rabbi Yossi, V'lo Malo. Why wouldn't you say he set himself up? I guess this must be a brisa somewhere. Ilumisha Amar Re'elai Asham 5 Slime. Said by Asham is also, it has to be at least $1. So somebody said, I'm going to bring an Asham for 5 Slime. Shemelo Nikba, isn't he fixed? And therefore he brings an Asham which is worth less. He's not Yotzi. The Kod Nikba here is also fixed as well. Okay, Mishlo Chag B'yotav Rishon Shel Chag. Somebody didn't make his chagigah the first day. Chagigah goes to the whole yontif. He has to shlumi the whole yontif. V'yontif achron and shmini atzeres. Of a regular chag, the entire yontif pass, he didn't do chagigah. Eno chay barachiyus, and he doesn't make it up afterwards. It's not responsible. Valzen our concern that says muvas, something which is distorted. Lo yichol tikon, cannot be corrected. V'chisaron, and a shortcoming. If you forget there meaning chagigah and yontif, eno chol imanos, you cannot make it up later on. Rabbi Yocham Shem Rabbi Shmuel said, Nemar Tesva b'Pesach v'Nemar Tesva b'Chag. says 15th day by Pesach, it says 15th day by Sukkot. Mates v'Shem by Pesach, Yontav Achron Tashlumi Drislon, Rishon just like by Pesach, the last day Yontav makes up for the first day, because it's all one unit of 7 days. Av Chamishla Shnemar beyond Chag, even the 50th day, which is by Sukkot, despite the fact Shmini Atzeres is a shtickle different, Yontav Achron Tashlumi the Rishon, the last day is a Tashlumi for the first day. Okay, it's another silly, but it's late enough. We'll stop here for today.